The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Boise City, Idaho, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 35029. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new fire apparatus. Starting just under the front bumper, you'll find two open-ended tow hooks on the passenger and driver's side frame rail. Moving up onto the face of the bumper on the passenger side is where you'll find your mechanical siren. Just inside of that location, you'll find dual air horns. And then moving over to the driver's side face of the front bumper, you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker. Let's move up onto the cab. First, starting on the left and right side of the cab face, where you'll find a marker and turn indicator. Just inside of that, you'll find your headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. The high beam is on the inside. Directly above the headlight structure, you'll find a forward-facing emergency warning light. And then directly over the grille, over the Pierce logo, is where you'll find your grab handle for gaining access to the windshield area. On the outer edges, you'll find your mirrors housing a flat and convex mirror. As we move to the brow, you'll find 5 clearance lights. And then as we move up onto the roof, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Located directly in the center of that light bar is where you'll find your opticom. Let's go ahead and take a look at the driver's side of the vehicle, full view. And then we'll go ahead and focus in onto the cab area, first starting at the front axle. You do have a sight gauge located in the center of the axle, Goodyear tires, and Alcoa wheels. As we move up, you'll find your side-facing emergency warning lights. This is the lower section. Moving up, you'll find your latches for gaining access into the cab doors. They are keyed. And then also grab handles at all points of entry for your firefighters, getting in and out of the cab. Directly over the axle is where you'll find your 20 amp auto eject shoreline power. As we move to the rear section of the cab, you'll find LED lights indicating the level of your water tank. Let's take a look at some close-ups of the items we just talked about. Sight gauge, Goodyear tires, Alcoa wheels. Moving to the midsection, you'll find LED lighting, perimeter lighting just under the running board. You'll also find a foot pedal for activating your switch for your reel rewind. Moving on to the vertical side sheet is where you'll find 4 fold down steps for gaining access to go aloft. As we move to the body, in front of and rear of the axle, folding wheel chocks. Moving up, you'll find a marker light just in front of the axle. As we move directly over the axle, you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light. And then as we move all the way up to the very top section, you'll find 2 side-facing floodlights. And then moving to the very rear, you'll find an emergency warning light bar. Let's take a look to the rear of the apparatus. We'll identify a few things. First, at the very back, perimeter lighting. You'll also find your attachment point, and also moving it to the left and right side, reverse light, brake, and turn indicator. Just inside of that location, you'll find an emergency warning light. Moving upward from this location, you'll find rear-facing scene lights, and then all the way up to the very top, your emergency warning light in the rear. We do have 2 discharges in the rear. We'll go over those when we have some close-ups. Let's go up on top of the vehicle. We have a picture here of the cover in the open position, water tank on your right hand side, and then also movable hose bed dividers. Moving around now to the passenger side, you'll find your emergency warning light, same configuration on this side, all the way up to the very top section. At the very rear, you'll find an emergency warning light, and then just forward of that location, your 2 side-facing scene lights. As we move down to the front section of the body, you will find this warning label regarding extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures. Also in the front section, you'll also find a foot pedal for your reel rewind, perimeter lighting, and then also full down step. Let's go ahead and move now to the front section of the cab. Same configuration. I would like to point out this is your air inlet for your engine. As we move now to the driver's side space, let's first start down at the step well. In that step well is where you'll find an air inlet, and then affixed to the door panel you'll find all of our safety and warning information. Let's go back down to the air inlet area down in the lower right corner. As we move back to the door panel, you'll find warning and safety information in addition with your electric windows and door locks. As we move just below the seat pedestal, you'll find your auto charge system. When plugged into shore power, this will be active, maintaining your batteries. As we move to about the left foot of the operator, you'll find this placard, manufactured for City of Boise, has the 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, date of manufacture, cold tire inflation, VIN number, all of your fluid capacities for each of the components and fluid component types. As we move to the floorboard on the left-hand side, as you enter into the cab, you'll find 2 foot pedals, first controlling on the left your air horn and also mechanical siren. Let's move up to about the left knee of the operator where you'll find your pump shift. There are instructions here from road to pump, and then also instructions on the opposite side of the placard from pump to road. Just as a reminder, you need 2 green indicators, pump engaged and OK to pump, for pump operations before exiting the cab. As we move to the dash area on the left-hand side, we're going to find oil pressure, water temperature, transmission, and volts. On the right, you'll find front and rear air, your DEF level, and fuel level. Tachometer and speedometer directly in the center. Diagnostic engine information will display above and below the speedometer. Let's move just to the right of the steering column where we'll find our dash area. Let's start at the upper left corner of the switch panel, starting first with your headlights, a panel switch which will dim the lights within preview of the operator, wiper and washer, DPF regen switch, and then also a DPF regen inhibit switch. When any of those switches are engaged, you can see the indicator will illuminate inside. Let's move just to the right where you'll find your engine brake on and off switch, a settings for low, medium, and high idle switch, a indicator light OK to engage the high idle, fuel primer, and then also your tire chains. Informational note here, pump in drive. Let's move further to the right where you'll find some caution information regarding disengaging the retarder when on wet or slippery surfaces. You'll also find your override for your backup, load manager, and also load manager indicator. You do have a system parking brake, pull to apply, push to release. It's the yellow diamond. As we move to the right, you'll find your Allison transmission pad, the digital readout, and then also your flat and convex mirror controls. As we move to the very forward section, you'll find your radio push-to-talk button for the operator. You'll also find this white and red candy cane warning information placard indicating spare wiring behind. And then also to the right, you'll find all of your window controls and then climate control just beneath that. Let's go ahead and take a look at some close-ups of the items. First, driver side and passenger side front windows, and then also rear cab windows for the driver and passenger side. Climate control, heat and air conditioning, and then also your defrost. As we move overhead of the operator seat, you'll find this yellow placard indicating the height of your vehicle, 9 feet, 11.38 inches, length 30 feet, 2.75 inches, gross vehicle weight rating, 45,500 pounds. Moving to the right, emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. Just to the right, you'll find your high beam flash, opticom, driver floodlight, passenger floodlight, rear scene, and a siren brake, which is the red switch on the very far right, controlling the mechanical siren brake. Let's move just to the right of this location to an additional set of switches. We have driver side cab scene and passenger side cab scene. Directly in the center, you'll find your seatbelt information, red indicating someone is in the seat and not belted, green indicating they are in the seat and belted. Directly in the center, you'll find your federal signal. This is your PA and electronic siren. Moving just overhead, I would like to point out David Clark headsets and then also push on and off white or red lens lights. Directly in the center is where you'll find this red light indicating you have an open door or compartment open. It will flash indicating not to move your apparatus. Let's go ahead and move from the inside cab area to the exterior. First, let's start on the driver's side with your shoreline inlet. This is an auto eject 20 amp plug. As we move to the rear cab area, we'll go just inside, affixed to the door panel, all of our safety and warning information. As we move inside, when plugged into shore power, this outlet will be active. This does power your battery charging system, which is just on the upper left-hand side. As we move further to the right, you'll find at the very rear section of the engine, lift and turn latch will gain you access into this compartment. This is for your daily checks for your oil and transmission. Some close-ups of the items we just talked about. First, starting with the shoreline outlet, auto charge system, and then as we move to the very rear section, you'll find your transmission fluid and also oil for your daily checks. Let's take a look at the rear cab wall, where you'll find an EMS compartment located in the very rear. On each side, you'll find 2 fold-down seats. Roll-up compartment door inside, LED lighting, and also adjustable shelving. Let's move back outside now, and we'll start at the pump panel area in the upper left-hand corner. First, starting with 2 pre-connected lines, cross lane number 1 and cross lane number 2. We do have a entanglement hazard warning placard here. Because of those lines coming from a loft, there is the possibility of entanglement, and that's why we have this placard located here. Let's move just to the right onto the pump panel area, where we'll start with our 2 large master gauges. First on the left is our pump intake, and then on the right is the pump discharge. We do have an indicator at the very top, pump OK. It is a light indicating, and then also vacuum and pressure test gauge ports, which are currently plugged in for testing purposes. As we move down, you'll find highly organized. All of your discharges are color-coded and labeled. You do have all electronic valves. Tank fill and also tank to pump are electric. And then moving to the right, you'll find your water level indicator in the blue module. Just underneath that blue module, you'll find a black round speaker. That is an audible alarm. It is for your pressure throttle governor, and you can silence the outer edge or dampen the sound by simply turning the bezel. To the right, you'll find your pressure throttle governor. And then as we move down onto the pump panel onto the left side, you'll find the number 1 and also number 2 crosslay, once again electronic valves. And then as we move further down, you'll find the deluge discharge, also an electronic valve. Let's go ahead and move all the way back up to the top to the set of switches here. There are 3. Driver side flood, passenger side flood, and directly in the center would be the panel lights for your pump panel. Just down from that, you'll find the minimum operation maintenance schedule. We'll go over that in just a few moments. And as we move down, you'll find your monitor operation station. There is also a top mount station also. To the right, we do have a warning label here regarding pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. Also, I would like to point out the caution information here for your mechanical team. This is caution based on the fact that all of your valves are electronic and you need to disconnect prior to doing any welding or work on the vehicle. As we move to the right, you'll find your primer. Further to the right, you'll find your left side main inlet, and then also the right side main inlet. Indicators on the open to close position. You'll also find a warning label here regarding do not ride on the apparatus. If you are climbing on the vehicle, make sure you face it. As we move down, you'll find your recirculating line and engine cooler. Those are both twist, not pull. And as we move down, you'll find this warning label that only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment, and only after they've received proper training. Just to the right, you'll find the left side auxiliary inlet. It is a 2.5-inch female coupling. And then moving further to the right, you'll find this placard. This is the type of pump that you have, which is waterless, and we'll go over that placard in a few moments. To the right, you'll find your main pump drain, and then just down from that location, your manual pump shift. Let's go ahead and move back up to the top here, where you'll find your main pump inlet. The pan door gains access to the relief valve, and that's the set screw at the very rear. Your watch wrist placard indicating a capacity of 1,500 GPM. As we move now to the minimum operation maintenance schedule for test pressures at 150, 200, and 250 PSI. On the left-hand side is where you're going to find the associated GPM at test pressure, and on the right you'll find the associated RPM at test pressure. This placard does offer your 5-digit job number in the upper left-hand corner. As we move down just below the pump panel, you'll find your foot pedal for your reel rewind. And then let's go ahead and take a look at some of the compartments in the body area. First starting LED lighting, dry deck material, and also adjustable shelving. As we move to the upper left-hand corner in this compartment, you'll find an outlet 12-volt barrel style. As we move downward, you'll find 2 Scba bottle storage locations with retaining straps. As we move to the right, you'll find your fuel door. Silver is going to be your ultra low sulfur diesel. Let's take a look at the
12-volt DC outlet, once again barrel style. As we move downward and to the right, you'll find an LED light. And then let's go ahead and move downward to the Scba bottle storage location. 2 Scba bottle storage and the 2 straps there for retaining for safety purposes those bottles. As we move to the right, your ultra low sulfur diesel fill location, it is the silver cap. As we expose the blue cap, this is your 4.5 US gallon DEF tank. Let's go ahead and move to the rear compartment. In the upper right hand corner in this image where the arrow is indicating, you'll find a cluster of wires and also all of your fuses for the rear section of your vehicle. Let's go ahead and take a general view here of the side of the apparatus. Compartment doors in the open position. And now we'll go ahead and move to the rear of the apparatus. Let's go ahead and start just above the tail lights on the left-hand side is where you'll find your rear scene lights. This is a momentary switch. As we move just inside of that location, you'll find some warning information regarding fall, never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion, and then also if you're climbing on the vehicle, make sure you face the vehicle. You'll also find discharges located in the rear. There are 2.5-inch discharge on the left and right side. With that, you'll find a warning label regarding pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when removing them. Also, you'll find an entanglement hazard warning regarding entanglement of those hoses from aloft. As we move to the right, this is the passenger rear discharge. Once again, 2.5-inch discharge. As we move to the very bottom, roll-up compartment door, dry deck material, LED lighting, and also adjustable shelving. General view here of the side of the apparatus will identify a few items starting in the very rear section of the apparatus. As we move to the upper corner, you'll find your 12-volt DC outlet, once again barrel style. 2 Scba bottle storage locations in the rear of the axle and an oxygen bottle storage. In the very front section, you'll find Scba bottle storage for 2. Let's move to the upper right-hand corner forward vertical sheet. This is where you're going to find an additional 12-volt access. I would like to point out this placard regarding extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures. Be cautious where you park your vehicle, especially during regen operations. As we move to the midsection of your pumper, we'll start at the upper right-hand corner in this image. Same configuration, 2 crosslays, crosslay 1, crosslay 2, warning entanglement hazard. As we move also to the panel itself, we'll start on the left, fall hazard. Remember not to ride on the side of the vehicle. The gray module here is your powered equipment rack. There are instructions for raise and lower and also some danger information on the placard. In addition, with your cab lift on the right, instructions here for raising and lowering. Just as a reminder, make sure all items are secured with inside the cab prior to the operation. As we move, you'll find 2 2.5-inch discharges located on the passenger side of the pump panel, in addition with a large diameter discharge. Let's go ahead and move to the pan door area on the lower right-hand corner. This is your equipment rack hydraulic reservoir. And then let's move now to the left side of the pump panel, where we'll start first at the lower left. This is your large diameter pump inlet. Same configuration as the passenger and driver side. You do have a warning label regarding pressure hazard. And then down at the very bottom, you'll find a 2.5-inch female auxiliary inlet. Across the very bottom, you'll find all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Same thing as the right side, color-coded and labeled discharge drains. As we move just under the pump panel area, you'll find an additional foot pedal for your reel rewind switch. We'll go ahead and go inside the cab area of the passenger side, identify a few items within this area. First, affixed to the door panel, all of our safety and warning information. As we move inside the cab in the rear, you'll find your federal signal module for your rumbler. As we move overhead, you'll find your David Clark headset system, push on and off red and white light lenses, and also air conditioning. Let's move now to the forward section. Directly over the front axle, you'll find your air inlet. As we move inside the cab, door open, you'll find an additional storage in the well. As we move upward, you'll find storage located under the officer seat. As we move to the A pillar, that's where you'll find the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid on the right-hand side. As we move down to the floorboard area, you'll find 2 foot pedals, first one controlling your air horn on the left, and the other the mechanical siren. Let's go ahead and move to the dash area. First, starting on the left, you'll find your rumbler push button, radio push to talk. You'll also find 12-volt access via barrel style, and then at the very front there are 2 of those. And at the very front section, you'll find your vehicle data recorder port. It's currently capped. Let's go ahead and go overhead in the officer's space. First, starting on the right, you'll find a set of switches. Those switches are going to be red in color. They're for your siren brake and then also for your rumbler. Let's take a look at the ladder in the outward position or deployed. 24-foot extension, 14-foot roof, and a 10-foot attic. Just above that, you'll find a long-handled pike pole. Let's go ahead and move now up to the dunnage area, first starting at the cab front, where you'll find your 2 cross lays. As we move into the dunnage area, you'll find your reel, which houses your booster line. At the top section of that reel, the shaft is where you'll find the location for inserting your reel rewind handle. As we move downward, you'll find a free tension or spool knob, and then as we move down to the electric motor on top of that, you'll find the breaker reset. As we move also just in front, you'll find a top button here, which is going to be for reel rewind, and then you'll also find your master stream device control module on the left-hand side at the very top. As we move to the cab, you will find these 2 warning labels. This is a non-walking surface, and that's why we have these 2 labels indicating not to walk. It may be slippery. Let's go ahead and take a quick look to the rear section of the apparatus. You'll find yellow diamonds indicating the walking space. This is the edge for firefighter safety. As we move underneath the vehicle, your vehicle is equipped with deployed tire chains. They are deployed from within inside the cab. Congratulations, Boise City, Idaho, on your new Pierce Arrow fire apparatus, job number 35029. If you have any questions regarding your vehicle, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.